coming to a comfortable seat. You know what to do by now. So whether you're sitting kneeling, whether you're on a raised surface, one shin crossed in front of the other, you know what I'm going to say before I say it. Switch it over. Nice and stable through the sit bones, nice tall spine, tummy drawing in underneath the ribs, ribs folding in over that, so zipping everything in towards center. Sit bones nice and evenly spread, shoulders gently softening down away from the ears. Bring those arms to relax, either down or up to receive. Soften through those fingers. Imagine space being created for the neck as you lengthen through the crown of the head. And then start to ride that tide of breath up the length of the spine, and maybe soften the eyes or close them all together, and just tuning into the body, tuning into the breath. Feeling that chest rise and fall. Navel draw in. And then setting an intention for your practice this evening, whatever it may be. And if you struggle to think of one, perhaps you can practice a sense of groundedness, a sense of compassion, of kindness for yourself, honouring today's body. Observing without criticising. It's a yoga practice, not a yoga perfect. So arriving on our mats, content to be in our bodies for this strengthening flow. And then as we're ready, we're going to bring those palms to press in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra, Mudra of reverence. And then from here, we are going to come into some seated cat-cow tilt. So whether you are sitting on a blanket or whether you're comfortable on the floor, switch the cross of the shins and bring those palms resting on top of the knees. And then from here, as we inhale, we're going to press that heart forwards, lengthen through the crown of the head and draw those shoulder blades in towards center as you get a nice low arch in that spine. And then exhale, draw that tummy in, tailbone tucks towards the heels, chin towards chest, shoulders round forwards. And then inhale, lifting and opening and lengthening. Exhale, rounding, and then moving with your own breath to your own natural rhythm. Each of us are different with a different capacity in those lungs. So filling those lungs and moving with your own body into your own space. A few more rounds. Really drawing those shoulders away from the ears, rounding forwards, and then inhale to return to a neutral position. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into a nice little toe squat. So we're going to strengthen the ankles here, and we're going to sit back on the heels if that feels comfortable. Otherwise, coming into knees together, tuck those toes, tailbone rests, and then from here, we are going to earth through the fingers. So reaching for the floor towards the right hand side, draw that tummy in, shoulders away from the ears, and then inhale, lift and lengthen through those left fingertips, look towards the sky, creating space for the chest. So it might be that the fingertips on the right hand side start near the hips, but you need to walk them further out to create space for the chest. Drawing length into that sideways as we lengthen through those fingers and press down through those toes, otherwise you can come onto the tops of the feet. And then exhale, we're going to bring those arms to arrow straight and lengthen up. And then exhale, we're going to lower those left fingertips earthing through the floor. And then as we continue over towards the left-hand side, lengthen through those right fingertips, twist from the belly and the chest, press through those toes as we get length through that right side waist here. And then exhale back through center. Inhale, reaching. And then from here, from our squat, we're going to come onto the tops of the feet, bring those fingertips behind us, fingertips turning in towards the body or just out towards the side. And then from here, we're going to press through those hip points, lifting those hip points, tucking that tailbone towards the knees, draw that tummy strongly in towards the spine, broaden across those collarbones, create space there, length through the crown of the head, and then keep tucking that tailbone, lifting those hip points forwards until you lift that bottom off the hips and open up through the chest, squeezing those thighs in towards center and feel the thighs firming. Feel that belly drawing in, those muscles around the low back strengthening, and then exhale, softly release on down. Good. Then from here we're going to shift forwards on those hips and we're going to come into some back strengthening postures. So lowering all the way down. We're going to start off nice and gently lengthening through those feet. Walk those palms of the hands alongside the low ribs. Shrug those shoulders away from the ears. As you tuck the tailbone, press through broad palms and just lift, peeling that head and chest off the floor. Squeezing those thighs in towards one another, pressing through all of the toenails into the earth as you lengthen through the crown of the head and feel that clutch of muscles at the low spine, strengthening around, strengthening our backs, and feel those shoulder blades squeezing in towards center. Obviously, if this gets too strong, just rest when you need to. Otherwise, one more deep inhale as we lift and lengthen a little bit higher. And then exhale, softly release on down. Good. Keep those triceps still spinning up towards the sky as we press through the palms of the hands, and this time we're going to practice that again, only this time lifting the hands, or for even more of a stretch you can bring those interlaced fingers at the back of the head and really draw those toe muscles in to strengthen through the low back. So as we're ready, take whichever option you fancy, press through broad palms, inhale, tuck that tailbone towards the heels, press through the palms, then either lift them up, squeezing those elbows in, otherwise, interlacing those fingertips at the back of the head, drawing those elbows open and really squeezing on those pelvic floor muscles, drawing them up and in, and we hold. Maybe you can pulse here for 1, 2, 3. Maybe we can go 4, and then 5, and then exhale softly, lower round those shoulders forwards, resting on one ear. Take a deep breath into the belly, into the low back. Releasing it all onto the mat. Good. And then from here we're going to practice that one more time before we come into Sarpasana or Serpent. That gets into the shoulders as well. So as we're ready, pick your option, palms alongside the low ribs. Perhaps you go for fingertips interlaced at the back of the head, but without pulling on the head, just gently resting those palms. As we're ready, draw those tailbones towards the heels. Lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. Lift those palms or interlace those fingertips at the back of the head. And then we're going to lengthen through the crown. Press through those toenails and maybe we can pulse again this time. 3, 2, 1. And then gently lower all the way back down. Maybe changing sides, resting on the opposite ear. And then exhale it all out on the mat, allowing those shoulders to round forwards. And then here is where we're going to get into those shoulders, drawing those shoulder blades in towards center. We're going to interlace those fingertips at the low back. Press those palms together, draw them down past the tailbone, squeeze those shoulders in. Take an inhale, tuck the tailbone towards the heels, and then drawing that upper body up, peeling that head and chest off the floor as we squeeze those shoulder blades in, roll those shoulders away from the ears, keep length through the crown of the head, and we're going to hold here for 3, 2, 1, and then gently exhale, release on down. Good, excellent. So this time we're going to come onto the forearms. So we're going to come into Sphinx, drawing those elbows underneath the shoulders, spread out through those fingertips, and then we can cross at the forearms here. So bring those forearms in. So wrapping those fingertips around the elbows if that feels comfortable. Draw those shoulders away from the ears. Press that belly into the floor. Broaden across the chest, and you'll feel this in the shoulders also and in the lower mid and upper back between the shoulder blades. And then from here we're going to come into Ardha Shalabhasana, so half locust. So keeping that tummy nice and strong, drawn in towards the spine. Let's tuck those right toes under and lift through that back of the knee. In fact, I'll do my left foot so you can see closer to the screen. So tucking your right toes under, press through those toes until that right knee lifts off the floor. So back of the right knee lifts, pressing through those forearms. And then from here, see if you can lift from the thigh and from the hip, that heel straight up towards the sky. Maybe here you can pulse for 5, 4, gently lift that heel, 3, 2, 1, and exhale, softly release it down. Okay. Allow those shoulders to kiss at the back of the neck here as you bring that head in between the shoulder blades, just squeezing out, rinsing out any tension in those shoulders, and then inhale, pressing through those forearms. We're going to switch the cross of the elbows this time, so opposite wrap to opposite elbow. pressing through those forearms, so we lift through the chest, and then we're going to prepare for that Ardha Shalabhasana on the other side. So draw that tailbone towards the heels again, tuck those left toes under, press through those toes until the back of the knee lifts off the floor and you feel those kneecaps lifting. Then trying to lift from the hip, so from the hip, from the thigh, get ready on an inhale, and then exhale, lift through that back heel, and then maybe we can pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and softly release on down. Releasing the forearms, resting back down, right ear to floor, or left ear to floor, whichever you fancy. And then we're going to practice one more round of Shalabhasana. We're going to notch it up a level before we come up onto all fours for a little bit more from there. Okay, so nice deep inhale into the belly, exhale through that low back, and then as we're ready, we're going to inhale, and you can reach those fingertips out in front of you, palms can be facing. And then from here, we're going to see if we can lift and lengthen through both heels, lifting them off the floor, drawing those pelvic floor muscles strongly in towards the spine, and then turn those palms facing down, and we're going to draw those elbows out towards the side of the room as we lift through the heart, and then we're going to exhale and open up the heels towards the side of the room. So inhale, lengthening through fingers, draw those heels together. Exhale, palms face down, squeeze those shoulder blades together, open up at those ankles. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, opening, squeezing and drawing. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, opening, squeezing those shoulder blades in towards one another. Ankles press out towards the side of the room. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, squeezing those shoulder blades together. See if you can get a little extra height here from the belly, from the chest. Open those ankles out towards the side. And then exhale, release all the way down. We're going to tuck those toes and we're going to pull back into child's pose to take the effort out of the low spine here. So let's take a gentle child's pose, hips towards heels, knees can be apart or together, and then resting with those fingertips extended, press through the floor so that you can press those hips down towards the heels as you rest the forehead between the forearms. Take some deep breaths into the belly here, feel those thighs pressing in against the belly pressing into the thighs. We're stimulating our metabolism, our digestion here, our elimination processes. Getting that blood and air circulating around the body, creating some heat. And then inhale, we're going to come all the way onto all fours. Just going to switch sides, otherwise I might kick something on my mantelpiece. So bringing those knees apart, and if you do need to pad up the knees here, so bringing a blanket across the centre, please feel free to do so. And we're going to come into Vajragasana, and we're going to get into the buttocks a little bit as well as we do, okay? So from here, with a neutral spine, drawing that tailbone, level with the back of the room, tummy draws in, rib cage wraps around, shoulders over the wrists, fingertips spread broadly. And then from here, we're going to take an inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, bend at that right knee and bring that right foot parallel towards the ceiling, keeping those hip points nice and level. Keep those shoulder blades spread broadly, tummy drawn in, and then we're going to pulse this right foot up towards the sky. We're going to do about 10 of these, okay? So keeping that foot pressing towards the sky, imagine a perfect footprint on the ceiling, and we're going to pulse gently getting into the bottom. So as we're ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, keep those hips level, 6, keep breathing, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then exhale, draw that right knee in towards the chest, bring that left elbow in to meet it, round that spine, exhale deeply, and then inhale, lengthen out, press through that heel towards the back of the room, lengthen through those fingertips, keep those hips nice and level, pull that tummy in, and we're going to hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, keep those hips parallel, tummy drawn in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower those fingertips, shoulder width apart, tuck those right toes under, press through those toes, draw that left knee in towards the tummy, round that spine again, draw those toes back, and then exhale, softly lower back down. We're going to practice that same thing on the other side. So this time, Bringing that left heel up towards the sky on an exhale. Keep those hips level, tummy drawn in. Perfect footprint on the ceiling. Spread out through those shoulders. Lengthen through the crown of the head. And as we're comfortable, as that tailbone's tucking towards the back wall, we're going to pulse on this side. We're going to do 10 again on this side. So as we're ready, 10, 9, 8. Keep that tummy drawn in. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then as we're ready, we're going to exhale and draw that left knee in towards the chest. That right elbow comes in to meet it. Draw those left toes back. And then inhale, lengthen through right fingers, left heel. Keep those hips level. And then hold here for 8. Draw that tummy in. 7. Hip points level for 6. 5. 4. 3. 2, 1, and then lower that right palm to the floor, tuck those left toes down. Draw that right knee in towards the tummy, round that spine, draw those right toes back, and hold. And then from here, we're going to step straight through into a low right lunge. So drawing that right knee in towards the chest, we're going to step forwards into a low lunge as we sweep those right fingertips high. And then exhale, plant those palms. We're going to step towards the back of the mat, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. And then from here, we're going to pull into Phalakasana or plank 3 times, bringing the shoulders between the arms and keeping that tummy drawn in. So press through those heels. Draw that tummy up underneath the rib cage, ribs wrap around the belly. And then exhale, bring those shoulders through the arms, slowly, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then inhale, push back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Exhale, come forwards, shoulders through the arms, press into those index fingers and thumbs, moving smoothly, moving slowly, lengthen. Again, inhale, pull back. Press through those heels, exhale, draw through shoulders, come through those arms, tummy drawn in, lengthen through crown of the head. And then exhale, push back or inhale, depending where you are with the breath. Then as we're ready, we're going to exhale and draw that left knee in towards the spine. Bring those shoulders over the arms, shoulders over wrists, and then stepping forwards between those palms and lowering into a low lunge. Sweep those palms high. And then exhale, plant those palms, and we're going to step towards the back of the mat, coming onto those knees. So we're going to take a little bit of effort out of the shoulders now and come into hare. So keeping those knees together, tuck those toes. We're going to sweep those arms around us, interlace those fingers, draw those shoulders together, press that heart forwards, draw that tailbone towards the backs of the knees, so maybe shift those hips forwards, and then exhale, leading from the heart, coming onto the crown of the head, fingertips go up and over. And then exhale, rocking back, hips towards heels, lowering those palms to the hips, squeeze those shoulders together, bring those hips off the heels, press that heart forwards, and squeeze into Ustrasana or camel variation. Inhale deeply, squeeze those thighs together, draw that pelvic floor up and in, and then exhale, softly lower those hips towards the heels, sweep those arms around behind, lengthen past the tailbone, press that heart forwards, and again, exhale, last time, heart comes forwards onto the crown of the head, lift those fingers up and over, chin starts to tuck towards the chest, gentle pressure on the crown, and then exhale, rock back, hips towards heels, release those palms to those hips, hips come high, squeeze those elbows together, press that heart forwards, Ustrasana or camel, broaden through the collarbones, and then exhale softly, releasing on down. Okay, planting those palms, we're going to tuck those toes, we're going to come into downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, and then we're going to meet at the front of the mat. So tuck those toes, imagine that tether between the tummy and the thighs as the tailbone reaches towards the sky, step those feet back and hip width, press into those index fingers and thumbs, stretching through one heel then the other, maybe tread out those feet, keep that tummy lifting, that tailbone reaching. And just imagine really this is an upper body stretch, a shoulder stretch, so we're bringing those arms and those ears in line. And then put a bend in both those knees, press those, spread out through those sit bones, draw that tummy in, tuck the tailbone, and then exhale, we're going to softly walk towards the front of the mat, keep that tailbone low. Arms out towards the side, palms face down, tuck the tailbone, press through the feet, nice flat back as you lift. So rooting down through the feet to rise up through those fingers. Inhale and exhale, release on down. Okay, so from here, grab yourself a quick drink, quick sip of drink. I'll meet you back on the mat in just a moment. Excellent. So this is where you're going to want to use your strap if you have one. It's not essential, but it can be quite helpful. I'm going to sort of start in the middle of my mat. You might want to come to the front, or the middle is absolutely fine. So we're going to practice some balancing in just a moment, but first of all we're going to take some delicious standing stretches. So in the centre of our mat, we're going to bring those arms alongside the body into nice strong Tadasana or mountain pose, spread out through all four corners of the feet. Stack those joints, so hips over knees, knees over ankles, shoulders over hips, balancing that head on top of the spine as we root down through the feet, rise up through the crown of the head, then lengthen through those fingertips, drawing that tailbone in, tummy in, so maybe tilting that pelvis forwards a little as we lift through the belly, lengthening through those fingertips. Okay, so from here, we're going to inhale and sweep those arms up towards the sky, arrow straight arms. Then same thing we did in kneeling, we're going to practice a side stretch here. So from palm tree, we're going to bring that right palm alongside that right hip and then stretch and lengthen over towards the right side of the room, lengthening through those left fingertips. Inhale, reaching. Drop that right shoulder away from the ears. Then exhale, bring those right fingertips alongside left, arrow straight arms, lengthen. And then exhale, stretching over to the other side, so lower those left fingertips, reaching towards the top corner of the room with those right fingertips. Press through that right heel, that right side of the foot, as you get a nice long line of energy through the side waist here. And then exhale, bring those fingertips back up towards center. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And then from here, we're going to sweep those arms around behind us. Reach for those hips, press through that sacrum, squeeze those elbows and take another back bend, opening up that heart, pressing through the crown of the head, and then exhale, come to standing. Okay, so we're going to reach for our strap now if you have one, otherwise you can practice without. We're going to start in good standing into Tadasana in the centre of our mat, or wherever you have enough room in front of you and behind. Spread out through all corners of the feet again. Remember that tailbone, that tummy drawing in. And then from here, we're going to practice that balance. So we're going to build some strength in the core, the back, firming up those thighs. And so then we're going to start by bringing that right knee in towards the chest. So draw it in towards the chest, get nice and tall through the spine. And you might want to reach for your strap or have it nearby for this next one. Maybe have it over your shoulder ready. So drawing that right knee in towards the chest. So again, really helpful here in terms of a strengthening tip is to always imagine that tether between the belly and the upper thigh, and then movement comes from that thigh, okay, and from the waist. So spreading out for that standing leg, and then as you're ready, either reaching for the outside edges of the feet as you draw that knee in, otherwise now reach for your strap, press through the ball of the foot, out towards the front of the room. So if you're reaching for the sides of the foot, you can keep the knee bent, draw that tummy in and those shoulders away from the ears, otherwise use your strap or belt or whatever you have to hand and press that foot out in front of you. Keep those shoulders resting away from the ears. It doesn't matter if you wobble, balance is always different on different nights, different days. So pressing through that right heel, whether the knee is bent or straight. And then as we're ready, we're going to start to open up towards the right side of the room. So if you're using a strap, you can just switch that strap into the right hand, put a bend back in that knee, left fingertips come to left waist, and then we start to kick out that foot over towards the right hand side using that foot as a counterweight to keep your balance. Otherwise your knee can be bent, you can be supporting the knee with the right palm or reaching for the outside edge of the foot. And then from here, oops, a bit more ungainly. So from here, from this side stretch here, you can reach for the toes if that's helpful. But then we're going to open up towards the left with those left fingertips as we hold that right leg out towards the side, drawing that tummy strongly and powerfully in. Keep those shoulders dropping down. And then exhale, put a bend back in that knee, bring it back round centre, reach for the outside edges of the foot. Draw that heel out in front of us, so knee can be bent or straight. And then gently release that foot. Bring those arms to arrow straight above the head. Press through that heel. Draw that tummy in, lift that heel. And then exhale, bend through that knee. Bringing that weight forward and take a gentle warrior 3. Lengthening through crown of the head and bringing that right heel towards the back of the room. Toes point down. Ooh. So heel points up, toes point down. And then tapping that foot back. We're going to inhale, step that left foot forwards, reach those fingertips high. And then we're going to exhale and lower onto that right knee as we bring that right palm to the inside of that left foot. Take it into a twist over towards the left hand side. Lengthen through those fingers. And then tuck those toes for a little bit more and lift through that back knee as you bring those hips forwards. Try and get a nice straight spine, so dropping those hips, feeling that stretch in the hip flexors as you lengthen towards the left hand side. And holding here. So knee can be up or down. Holding. Good, and then from here we're going to use those left fingertips, and if this is okay on your shoulders, we're going to bring those left fingertips around between the shoulder blades with the palm facing away. And then from here we're going to take it into extended side angle, so pressing through those right toes, shorten that stance a little. We're going to open up towards the right hand side, sweep that right palm forwards, up, then open into warrior 2 with that right arm and with that left palm between the shoulder blades. And then we're going to bring that left shoulder to the inside of that left thigh. Otherwise, bring that left arm to just the inside of the thigh and release those fingertips towards the floor. Lengthen through those right fingers as you drop those hips and turn to look over towards the right hand side, pressing through the outside of that right foot. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And then exhale, turn up on that back heel, release those fingertips, drop those palms towards the floor, drop back onto that right knee, and then we're going to take it into a lizard lunge on this side. So I'm just going to turn sort of slightly diagonally so you can see what's going on here. So in our lizard lunge, we're going to bring those right fingertips to the inside of that left foot. Keep nice space for those shoulders and see if you can bring those left fingertips alongside that foot, or even more, you can start to bring that left shoulder underneath that left knee and then sneak that right foot back as you bring those fingertips to parallel and press that heart forwards, opening up in the hip joint there. So practice that if you'd like to. Otherwise, palms of the hands on the inside of the foot and maybe even rolling onto the outside edge of that left foot, drawing those left toes back, pressing that heart forwards. And you can either raise your palms up on bricks or rest on the forearms, but keep stretching through that right hip flexor and stretching into that left hip here into our lizard lunge. Extra breath here. From our lizard lunge, either the shoulders underneath the knees or fingertips inside. We're going to then bring those palms out, sweep those left toes back, come back through Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Bring that tailbone up towards the sky. Press into those index fingers and thumbs, and then from here, we're going to step towards the front of the mat. Tailbone low, sweep those fingertips high. Come all the way up into standing, ready for that same thing on the other side. Okay, so having your strap handy this time over the right shoulder and coming into our good standing here, ready to test our balance and to build some strength into those hips, bellies and lower back muscles. Okay, so standing nice and tall. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more limber on that left hip now. Then as we're ready, we're going to start to draw that right knee or the opposite knee in towards the body. So drawing that foot in towards the body, drawing that knee in. Draw those toes back, drop those shoulders, then either reaching for the outside edges of the feet or bringing your strap around to the ball of the foot and start to press through the ball of the foot, lengthening through that strap, drop those shoulders and using the weight of the leg pressing into your strap as your counterbalance. Otherwise you'll reach for both sides of the feet and perhaps keep the knees bent. Pull up strongly on those belly muscles. Get length through the crown of the head and the spine. Tuck that tailbone towards that standing heel and press through that back, that standing heel, so you feel those kneecaps lifting and the thighs firming. Then from here, maybe put a bend back in that knee, imagining that tether again between the thigh and the belly, and then gently opening it out towards the side of the room. Bring those opposite fingers, for me that's the right fingers, over towards the right side, then start to press through that foot again. Standing nice and tall, reminding ourselves to draw the tummy in, the tailbone under, lengthening through that strap, or maybe you're reaching for the toes with the index fingers on those left hands. But get nice and tall. Then if you can, for an extra challenge, look out over that opposite shoulder as you stand nice and tall, squeezing for that standing leg. And then exhale back through center. Bit of bend in that knee, draw it in. Maybe again reaching for those toes, wobble, wobble, wobble. And then from here, gently bring those palms to the heart. Lengthen through that heel. Sweep those arms up, arrow straight arms. And then exhale, bend back through that left knee. And start to bring that upper body towards the front of the room. To point those back toes to the floor, heel points up, lengthen away. And again, now see if you can imagine a tether between the crown of the head and that lifted heel as you bring that weight forwards. Whoops. If you wobble and come out, that's perfectly fine. Remember, balance is always different on different days. And then stepping towards the back of the mat, inhale, sweeping those palms high. And then exhale, lower onto that left knee, coming into a low lunge. Sweep those palms, lengthen through, bending into that front knee. And then exhale. We're going to open up the heart in this one to make us feel really good. So before we come into that nice hip opener on the right hand side, we're going to open up the palms and squeeze those elbows out towards the side of the room. Press through the heart. Sink through those hips. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Release those palms overhead. Tuck that tailbone. Right knee over right ankle. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale, turn those palms away towards the front of the room. Squeeze those elbows out towards the side. Press that heart forwards. And again, inhale, lengthen, pull back. Tuck the tailbone. Last time, exhale, open those palms. Elbows come out towards the side. Press that heart forwards. Length through the crown of the head. And then exhale, lengthen. Take an inhale as you get a little bit taller. And then exhale, bring those left fingertips to the inside of that right foot and sweep those right fingertips over towards the right side. Palm faces away. And you can either stay here, sinking those hips forwards, or tuck those toes, lift through that back knee, and lengthen those shoulders into one line as you reach for the sky. Inhale, lengthen. And then as we're ready, we're going to sweep those right fingertips down and around and bring the palm in between the shoulder blades, drawing that right shoulder away from the ears, tucking those toes, shortening that stance a little, turn out on that left foot towards the long edge of the mat, bring those left fingertips forwards towards the front of the room, press through that front thigh as you sweep those left fingertips up and around into a warrior two stance without that right arm, tuck that tailbone under, and then draw that right elbow to the inside of that right thigh, otherwise you'll just lower the forearm to the thigh and press the heart open from here. Otherwise, bring that palm of the hand between the shoulder blades. Drop that hip. Lengthen through those left fingertips towards the right corner of the room. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. So bring those left fingertips back around. Release those fingers into warrior two arms. And then we're going to exhale, windmill those arms around. And we'll come back onto all fours for a little bit more core work. So from here, I'm just going to turn and face the other way. We're going to come into a little bit of core work here on this side, just to calm it down a little bit, but keep a little bit of heat in the body. So bringing those knees to hip width, shoulders over those wrists, spread out through those fingers, and just enjoy this neutral position for a moment. Just enjoy this moment of ah-ness between sequences. Nice deep breath into the belly, but we're ready for action. And then from here, what I'd like us to do is bring that left knee in towards centre a little. Press through that left knee, tuck the tailbone until you can feel that tummy firming in towards the spine. Then as you're ready, we're going to open up that right knee towards the side of the room. So lift and open it towards the side of the room. Keep those shoulders over the wrists. And then you can kick out that right foot and press through the outside of that right foot till the outside edge is pressing through the floor. Keep that heart pressing forward, that tummy drawing in, the tailbone tucking under. Then for a little bit more, you can start to lift that right heel off the floor, drawing that tummy in. You'll feel that really deeply in the hips. So put a bend in the knee, maybe make a circle on the hips if it's too much there. Otherwise, pressing through that foot and then lifting through that heel, drawing the tummy in strongly. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then sweep that right foot round towards the front, coming into a low lunge, ready for lizard on that side. So sending that heart forwards, shoulders come underneath, right shoulder comes underneath that right knee if you can, reach around, and then lengthen through that back foot, lowering through that hip flexor, press that heart forwards. Otherwise your palms are both on the inside of the foot and you can roll onto the outside edge of that foot to get deeper into those hips. Otherwise, palm comes through underneath that right leg and the right knee rests on the shoulder as you press that heart forwards. Maybe you can even try to lift that right foot a little to get some extra strength in the belly here, having just practiced what we just did, which is a little bit like a dog at a fire hydrant, some people might say, okay? So maybe practice that again. So bring that right knee over the shoulder, start to lift through the toes, lift that foot up, and you can rest that foot in the air, and then exhale, lower it back down. Exhale, sweep that right foot back. We're going to come back into that neutral position and take another moment of awareness in between. And then take a nice inhale into the belly, into the pelvis. Exhale it through the crown of the head. So imagine that heat sort of evaporating through the crown of the head, disappearing off into the distance. And then as we're ready, we're going to practice that same thing on the other side. I'll just turn around for this one. So knees hip width. We're going to start by bringing that right knee in towards centre a little. We're going to open up that left knee towards the side of the room. Keep that belly nice and strong. You can draw those toes back. Then from here, we're going to exhale and softly, with control, using those belly muscles, lower that left foot towards the floor. Press through the outside of that foot. Bring that heart forwards. Keep that tummy drawn in. And then from here, for a little bit more, you can start to lift that left heel off the floor and hold. Hold for 5, 4, tummy strong, 3, 2, 1, and exhale, softly lower it down. Maybe make some circles on that hip again, just to avoid any cramping sensations. So just dropping that knee in, making some circles on the hips. Good, and then from here we're going to sweep those toes back. I'm going to pull back into a normal child's pose, but we're going to stretch out the wrists as we do. So hips towards the heels, knees can be apart or together. And then we're going to press through the backs of the hands. So start by lengthening towards the heels and then draw those wrists up the length of the body, alongside the body, till you can press through the backs of the wrists as you rest that forehead on the floor and take a moment of rest here. Another moment of awareness in between. Okay, coming into our final leg now. So we're going to inhale, come back up. We're going to walk those fingertips towards the front of the mat and we're going to stretch out through the hips. So I will show you a modification when we get there, but we're going to practice three-legged dog and then into pigeon, and we're going to practice sleeping pigeon. Otherwise, there is the option to practice thread the needle. So actually I'll show you that now. So after our three-legged dog, you can either practice your thread the needle pose with that ankle crossed behind the knee and draw that thigh in, toes point up towards the sky, pressing that bent knee towards the front of the room. Otherwise, you're going to practice with me in your sleeping pigeon, and we're going to rest there for a little while to get into those hips as well. So coming forward to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Tuck those toes. Again, imagine that tether from the belly towards the thighs and bring those arms and those ears in line. Stretch through those heels. And I'm going to practice on my left side, but you might want to go for the right hand side. We're going to inhale, press that heart towards the floor. Exhale, start to lift that right heel straight up towards the sky, keeping those hips level to begin with, and then gently open that right knee towards the side of the room, looking under that right armpit, kicking that right ankle towards the back as you open up that hip there. Then as we're ready, we're going to exhale, bring those hips back towards level, and then draw that knee in towards the chest, and then start to kick that right ankle across behind that left wrist and lower onto the shin. Okay, so lowering onto that right shin. So the shin is almost parallel with the short edge of your mat. Start to lengthen through that back leg, and this is where you'll take thread the needle if the knees are sore. Otherwise, start to lengthen towards the floor by walking that back foot back. And you can either draw that ankle closer into the body for a milder stretch, or you can walk the shin more parallel with the front of the mat, which will give you a deeper stretch. So go with what feels comfortable for you. And also this is the opportunity, if you do have a blanket handy, to maybe prop up that right buttock on a blanket to keep those hips nice and level. So when you're nice and comfortable and you've lengthened as far as you can through that back foot and rested on the top of the foot, we're going to then start to fold over onto the forearms, or maybe rest the forehead on the floor, walk those arms away, and keep those right toes drawn back to protect the right knee as you lengthen and fold into your sleeping pigeon. So arms can rest however you feel comfortable. Forehead can rest on the forearms. You can interlace the fingers and rest the forehead on the thumbs, just taking whatever position feels comfortable for you. Otherwise you are, as I've mentioned, you'll be in thread the needle on your back, okay? So then settle in. We're going to take some nice deep breaths. Try to keep those hips nice and level. That's what the blanket is for, to keep those hips nice and level. Rest that forehead down, breathing deeply into that low back. And keep those shoulders soft if you can. It might be that you have the mobility and you can come all the way to the floor. But just noticing if those hips start to feel unequal or uneven, just bringing those hips back to level. Maybe walking back through the top of that foot at the back as well, to keep those hips nice and level. Good. Crown of the head falls towards the floor. Maybe you nod the head yes, shake the head no. Just releasing any tension in the neck here. And you can either stay in your sleeping pigeon, or if you'd like a little bit more, I'll just switch sides so that you can see. If you'd like a little bit more, you can turn this into a twist. So with length of that back foot, you can bring those right elbows across to the sole of that right foot. Bring those palms to touch. And then open up towards the left-hand side into a twist here. Okay, that gets very deeply into the hips. It's a very deep stretch, but it might feel quite lovely, quite yummy. It might be one that you want to try. Otherwise, you're practicing in your sleeping pigeon, resting here. Good. And then from here, from our sleeping pigeon, if the knee is still quite happy, what we're going to do is we're going to lengthen through that right heel away from the body and then bring that body forwards. So draw that right hip towards us as you sink a little bit more deeply, bringing those palms over towards the outside of that right thigh as you stretch through that right heel. And you can come onto that back knee, you can lift the hips a little, just gently pressing through the outside of that right foot as you bring that heart forwards. And then exhale, softly sink on down. We're going to bring that right foot back in towards the body. Tuck those toes, release that right foot alongside left. Pull back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. We're going to practice that same thing on the other side. So this time, pressing through those heels, lifting through the belly, arms and ears in line. Take an inhale, and then on your exhale, lift that left heel straight up. And then as you're ready, opening up that left hip, allow that left ankle to dangle across the room towards the right hand side. Deep inhale here, looking under that left arm. And then exhale, level off those hips, keep that left knee bent, draw it in towards the tummy. And then as you're ready, start to kick that left foot across towards the right wrist, lowering onto the shin, otherwise you'll take thread the needle on the other side. Start to lengthen down that right foot, resting on the top of that right foot, and again, propping up your left buttock this time on a blanket if you need to help, a little bit of help to keep those hips level. And then again, bringing that heel in towards the body for a milder stretch, further away for a deeper stretch, and then folding on down into your sleeping pigeon on the opposite side. Keeping those left toes drawn back in towards the knee to protect the knee as you rest on down. Keep those shoulders nice and soft. Long and steady breath. And then remember, you can either stay here or you can take it into a twist on the left hand side. So to come into that twist, you'll bring that left elbow across to the inside of that left foot. And you'll twist over twist over towards the right hand side. So bringing that left elbow across, draw back those toes, bring those palms to press, draw those shoulders away from the ears, lengthen through that back foot, bring those hips to level if you can, and then open towards the right hand side of the room. And look over that right shoulder if that feels comfortable. This is a lovely twist for the spine as well, but keep the belly nice and strong. So twisting from the belly, twisting from the chest, and then from there getting into the spine. As you press through the palms of the hands. Good, and then exhale, softly unwind if you're there. And then for that little bit extra, we're going to walk those palms over off towards the left. Start to lengthen through that left heel. Prop ourselves up on those palms, bring a little bit of weight as we press into the outside of that left foot and bring that heart forwards, bringing those shoulders into one line. And you can press through the back foot or the inside of that back foot. Just find what feels comfortable on the knee, okay? So just moving into that position according to how that right knee feels. And then gently, softly lower back down. Then from here, we're going to tuck that left foot in. That right foot is going to come behind us. And then from here, we're just going to turn the whole upper body over that left knee and soften towards the floor in an animal stretch pose. Just rest here for a breath or two, and then we'll switch it up to the other side. Slow and steady breath. And then inhale and softly come up. We're going to switch so that right heel comes in, that left heel goes behind us. And then we're going to turn that whole upper body, sitting nice and evenly through both sit bones. Whole upper body goes over towards the right. And we're going to lengthen towards the floor here. Soften through the fingers, soften through the hips. This should feel a lot easier on the hips after our pigeon pose. And then inhale, softly come up. Last stretch before I let you rest. We're going to open those feet out towards the side. We're going to go for Upavishta Konasana, or wide-legged forward fold. Draw those toes back, get nice and grounded through the sit bones. If you've got a blanket handy, you can pop it under the hips to prop those hips forwards a little. And then from here, we're going to inhale, sweep those arms to arrow straight above the body, lengthen through the sides of the body. And then we're going to exhale and lower towards the floor. Palms can face up and you can rest on the forearms, or down if you want to sort of crawl those fingers forwards and pull yourself gently into a deeper stretch. But again, think belly towards thighs here rather than rounding that spine. So what we don't want is a spine that looks like this, okay? Instead, lengthen through the crown of the head, as imagine you're being pulled up by that golden thread. That heart will press forwards, and then you fold over those hips towards the floor, resting with the palms up or down, okay? And just rest here with those toes drawn back, pressing those femur bones and backs of the knees towards the floor. You don't have to come into full side splits either. You can keep a soft bend in the knee and just lengthen from the waist here, drawing those toes back. You can bring those feet in a little bit closer together. So working with what feels comfortable for you as you walk those fingertips forwards, pressing through that heart, resting those forearms, length through crown of the head, and hold. And then inhale has come up. I'm just going to take this into a couple of twists, and then it really, really is time to rest. Okay, so from here, from our Upavishta Konasana position, we're going to bring that right arm across towards the left thigh, and we're going to reach those right fingertips up, those left fingertips up and over towards the right side of the room. Draw that right shoulder down away from that right ear, and lengthen through those left fingertips as you draw that tummy in, and again twist from the belly. It might be that you sort of bring that upper right arm underneath the chest to get a little bit more leverage as you reach over towards the right side of the room, getting length through the side body, through the side waist. Look up towards the sky if that's okay. Keep those toes drawn back, and then exhale, draw that tummy in, softly come all the way back up. And then from here, we're going to lengthen through the crown of the head. Inhale, and then exhale, reach for the outside of that right thigh with that left palm, And then lengthen, so bring that chest up and over that left arm as you then lengthen over towards the left side of the toes, twisting from the belly and chest up towards the right hand side as you get a nice deep stretch through that right side waist also. So it should be quite delicious, this one. So you should feel stretch, you should feel strength, you should feel thoroughly rinsed out, detoxified, and hopefully ready for a good night's rest when this is all over. And then exhale, come all the way back up, draw those tummy muscles in. Give yourself a helping hand, draw those knees up and in towards centre. Maybe windscreen wiper those knees from side to side a few times just to loosen out any tensions and any knots there. And then you know what to do. It is time to rest. So get yourselves nice and comfortable. I'll take you through a short passive relaxation. So a nice relaxation without effort as we sink and settle in towards the floor. So get yourselves nice and comfortable. I will turn the lights off my end and get ready for your Shavasana. Really well done. Quite a warming practice, that one. So coming to rest, whether the knees are bent, resting in with the feet wide, or whether the legs are extended, allow those toes to soften. Walk the palms of the hands out towards the side of the room, palms face up. So allowing that heat to escape from the palms of the hands, but also allowing us to be receptive. Tuck that chin ever so slightly in towards the chest. Make sure the back is really comfortably against the floor, that the shoulder blades are nice and soft. Imagine I'm right there just stroking down the length of your spine just to soften it all, relax it down. All the way to the back of the hips, the pelvis. Just soften it down. And rest. So feel free to take this time just as a rest and just tune me out if you prefer. Otherwise, just calmly and slowly listening to the sound of my voice, but without trying too hard. In fact, what we want you to do is to loosen all the efforts and sink in and really allow yourself to relax. So sort of unburden yourself, unfold, unfurl, and just simply be, just enjoy this undoing on the mat here. So time for total relaxation and inner stillness. Making sure that you are warm enough, comfortable enough, that the hands and the feet are resting loosely and that the eyes are softly closed. And then just take a long, slow, deep breath in and hold. And then gently but fully exhale, allowing any tension to melt away as you unfold, as you unfurl, as you relax more deeply with each breath. And then take another long, slow, deep breath in all the way into the belly. And hold. And then softly exhale, emptying your lungs completely with each breath. And then a third deep breath in. So see if you can take even more time. Take your time to breathe in. Savouring that breath. And then hold for a moment. Hold in that breath. And then exhale fully, slowly and smoothly, letting go. Feel yourself drifting into a state of relaxation. And then just scan your head from the crown of your head. Just allow the crown of your head to soften. The brows to soften, the eye muscles to release. Allow your cheeks and your jaw to soften, letting go of all tension. And allow this peaceful feeling to continue to flow down the body, down into your neck, creating length and space for the neck as the neck softens. Feel every muscle, every fibre, loosening, relaxing, letting go. And then as you take another breath in, just feel that this relaxing feeling feels warmer, deeper, deeply working its way into the muscles in your shoulders. Feel those soothe, soften, open and relax towards the floor. All tensions released. And then allow this peaceful feeling to continue to flow from your shoulders and into your arms. Loosening the muscles in your upper arms. Take a moment to loosen those elbows, getting into those elbow creases, your forearms, your wrists, your hands. Relaxing and soothing the backs of your hands, the palms of your hands, each of your fingers and thumbs. Notice as this relaxation continues to pour into the body, to flow on down, that as the body relaxes and unwinds, so does the mind. Your thoughts perhaps seeming a little bit lighter as you slip further into that state of stillness, that state of simply being in your true nature, and bringing your awareness to your chest, your stomach. This area of your body gently rises and falls as you breathe. This peaceful sensation flowing through this area of your body. Every muscle soothed, every organ relaxed. Releasing every last molecule of tension. Feel your upper back relax. Feel your spine relax. As this sensation gradually trickles down your body, feeling every muscle it touches, every muscle it reaches, relaxing and unwinding. Feel the entire upper body loose, soft, relaxed. And allow yourself for a moment to sink into that serene sensation. Relaxing more and more deeply. This peaceful feeling flowing down into your hips. Feel your pelvis soften and relax and release. Relax your buttocks, the backs of your thighs, the fronts of your thighs. These large, strong muscles that support you, becoming looser, softer, more relaxed with each moment. And these feelings of relaxation soothe the knees, soothe the calves, the ankles, the shins, your feet, tops of the feet, soles of the feet, each of the toes relaxed completely, your entire lower body, just as the entire upper body completely relaxed, and allowing any remaining tension to dissolve, dissolving from anywhere, any last knots of tension dissolving and flowing out through the tips of your toes. You are so strong. Allow your inner light to shine. So strong, but so relaxed, comfortable, peaceful and quiet. And then as you're ready, start to take some deeper breaths, enlivening those senses once more. And then start to prepare the body to make some small movements at first. Slowly, gradually, maybe starting on the smaller joints, working up to the larger joints. Fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. And then gently, as you're ready, start to draw those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a hug. And then rolling onto your right hand side and pause for a moment in compassion and kindness. Compassion and kindness, not only our greatest friends, but our greatest strengths. And then gradually pressing yourself back up to a comfortable seat facing this way. And bring those palms in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. We bow the head, sealing the benefits of our strength building practice to make us feel great. And then palms in front of the forehead for loving thoughts, to the heart center for loving intentions, and to the lips for loving communications. May your yoga practice bring you all the strength that you need to go off into your evening and the rest of your days this week. I cannot wait to see you all again really soon, some as soon as Thursday. I cannot wait. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Namaste.